Warning, the following video contains abject stupidity. Please, remove all heavy objects from your immediate location and distance yourself from expensive items. By viewing this video you agree to absolve its creator from any liability regarding property damage, mental distress, deteriorated health, contagious stupidity, unending hysteria, or sudden onset Tourette syndrome. You have been warned.
Hey YouTube, Brain in the Jar here. How's it going? In tonight's episode, we'll be watching a video from the long-time nonsense peddling flatard, MrThriveAndSurvive. I hope you have your popcorn ready. Let's start this shit show.
August 7th, 2018. Hello, this is Rich, Mr. Thrive and Survive. You're about to see absolute, unadulterated proof that anyone can do for free. All you have to do is travel some, and you'll be able to prove that the Earth is not a globe.
Really? Awesome. Tell me how.
We are going to be using a theodolite app.
Oh, an app that uses the internal accelerometer of a phone? Let's get George Atwood, the inventor of the accelerometer, in here to watch with us.
I paid for the premium app, but you don't need to do that unless you want to get the extra features that I needed, like recording the screen and different things like that. I recently took a trip from from Phoenix, Arizona to Baltimore, Maryland. On the way back, I had to transfer planes in Chicago. This is one of the photographs of that, Chicago. So this is pretty much in the middle of the country. And I want you to notice on the right-hand side here, I was trying to get the horizon just after we took off at 3,398 feet. You can verify this latitude, longitude if you like. And you can see we're pretty much at zero on the horizon. And my tilt left-right was not working very well. It seemed like my phone is picking up some sort of magnetic or electromagnetic interference. However, my son was with me. He got this app also. That was his price for the trip, and he was a globe Earth believer.
Sounds like a smart kid. Must really suck to have to explain to your friends at school that yes, my dad is that retard on YouTube.
I'll get into that in another video. I didn't even try to think about this, but this is an ultimate proof that just dawned on me yesterday. So I'd like to share that with you. So let me show you a little bit how this theodolite works and show you how you can, for free, prove with no doubt whatsoever that you live on a flat Earth.
What do you think, George? Does he have any idea how this actually works? I didn't think so either. Okay, let's get back to it.
Okay, let's take a look at how this application works. I'm going to start this as close to zero as possible. This is my up-down reference here. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side is my tilt left and right. I zeroed this out in Phoenix when I started. So let me go ahead and just play this through. You're going to see this go down first, just to show you how this will change. Then I come back up, and then I'll tilt left to right. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Look over here first on the right-hand side. As you can see, I'm tilting down. I get negative numbers. As I come back up, it heads towards positive. Now I'm tilting left, obviously, and now I come back right. So, and I go past the 0 point. So you can see how that works on both axes. All right, now I need to show something absolutely necessary because the detractors will come along and say the application, this theodolite app, self-adjusts no matter where you are. No, that's not true.
Yeah, it does. The accelerometer in the phone is how the phone references itself to the ground. Ever notice that when you're holding your phone upright and then turn it on its side, the app switches with it? Hold on, I'm going to let an expert explain this to you.
I think this is one of the coolest features of today's smartphones. It knows up from down. Built into the circuitry is a tiny device that can detect changes in orientation and tell the screen to rotate. Now, let me show you what it looks like using an old iPhone. There it is. It's an accelerometer. I'll tell you how this kind of chip works and how it's made, but first some basics of accelerometers. They have two fundamental parts: a housing attached to the object whose acceleration we want to measure, and a mass that, while tethered to the housing, can still move. Here it's a spring with a heavy metal ball. If we move the housing up, the ball lags behind, stretching the spring. If we measure how much that spring stretches, we can calculate the force of gravity. You can easily see that 3 of these could determine the orientations of a 3-dimensional object. Well, lying with the z-axis perpendicular to gravity, only the ball on the x-axis spring shows extension. Turn this on its side so that the z-axis points up and only the accelerometer along the spring on that axis stretches. So how does this phone and this chip measure changes in gravity? Well, more complex than the simple ball and spring model, it has the same fundamental elements. Inside the chip, engineers have created a tiny accelerometer out of silicon. It has, of course, a housing that's fixed to the phone and a comb-like section that can move back and forth. That's the seismic mass equivalent to the ball. The spring in this case is the flexibility of the thin silicon tethering it to the housing. Now, clearly, if we can measure the motion of this central section, we can detect changes in orientation. To see how that's done, examine 3 of the fingers on the accelerometer. The 3 fingers make up a differential capacitor. That means that if the center section moves, then current will flow. Engineers correlate the amount of flowing current to acceleration.
Wow, that was informative. I certainly hope you learned something.
So let's get a perspective first from the big picture. This is Google Earth. I traveled approximately from here, Phoenix, Arizona, to Baltimore, Maryland. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the right perspective with Google Earth. Maybe it can be done, but I don't know how to do it. But anyway, this is pretty much the travel route I took. So how much curvature is that? That's very important. Remember, no matter where you're standing, you're at the top of the ball. So we have the same curvature forward and back as we do left and right, no matter where we move on a ball. Now let's estimate how much difference the curvature would have to be, or the tilt would have to be, going from Phoenix to Baltimore. 2,000 miles equals 3,219 kilometers. I rounded it off to the nearest kilometer. And if we come down here, we see, using the circumference, we find that 1 kilometer has the angle of, it's actually 1 kilometer is 0.009. So you take the distance times 0.009, and that will give you how many degrees of curvature that you should have. And in this case, we have this right here, this tilt that we have versus where we started in Phoenix. It's 28.971 degrees to be exact. So 28.98 degrees difference.
I'm actually impressed. You've managed to do some math. But what's your point?
From level is what we should read when we get to Baltimore from.
No, just no. As we've already shown, the accelerometer in your phone references itself with gravity. So on your flat Earth, as you travel to another city, it would still read 0 degrees. And on a spherical Earth, it would read 0 degrees.
Phoenix if the Earth is a globe. This will also, because wherever you are at that moment happens to be the top of the globe, no matter where we are, we also have a, this is a 3D type of thing. Your depth is also changed. So if I'm looking up and down, that will also change from, if I'm reading 90 degrees or 0 degrees, I should say, looking at the horizon here, that should be off by almost 29 degrees, what is at the horizon here. So hopefully that's clear so far.
Is your stupid contagious? No matter where you are on Earth, down will always be towards the center of the Earth, because gravity pulls towards the center of mass.
Okay, here we have just after takeoff in Phoenix. This is where I think I had my phone upside down and the applications flipped it. So this is 89.9 degrees, which is 0.1 degrees from perfectly up and down from where I calibrated. If I had the phone flipped upside down, this would show, I guess, negative 0.1. Anyway, again, forget the left tilt. A lot of this did not work on the left side. That's my son's phone did work. This is the one we're talking about here. This is just after takeoff in Phoenix. You can see our altitude isn't very high. Then, let me switch it over here. Here we are more closer to the middle of the country. Here we're at 39,000 feet. And to the horizon here, I was slightly below it, minus 01.3 degrees. What you're going to find is we can't actually use this as either a flat or a globe earth proof as far as horizon drop. That's another video that I've already done. Anyway, so in the middle of the country, this is probably a little bit closer to Phoenix than it is to Baltimore, but you can see everything is still holding true here. Now let me get you near Baltimore. Before we get to Baltimore, just to throw it in here, this is just after takeoff in Chicago. You can see again, remember I had never zeroed this except for once. I calibrated it in Phoenix, never touched this button again my whole trip. This was coming back from the East Coast, so this is pretty much in the middle of the country, about halfway, a little bit over halfway from Phoenix, and still you can see the level is correct. So let's get to Baltimore. Here we go, here's Baltimore. Look at this, 2.8 degrees. We're only 1,000 feet. We're getting ready to land at BWI, and look at this. This should read, now I am about 2.8 degrees above the horizon here, as you can see. So this should be 28 degrees, or 29 degrees, or negative 29 degrees. I'd have to think it through. But either way, this is 29 degrees off what it would read if we were on a globe.
No, it wouldn't. Your app uses the accelerometer inside of your phone to reference gravity. So, no matter where you are on Earth, as long as your phone is perpendicular to the center of gravity, it will always read 0. Congratulations! You've proven nothing except your own stupidity.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.